Christy, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect. At least we make sure our stuff works.
Yeah, I don't think they've heard our voices before, so it should be fine.
Yeah.
As long as you could share, there's a share screen at the bottom, so you could share the presentation and go through it.
Yeah. Do you think they won't want to do? I thought last time they controlled from their end, but yeah, I can share screen. It's not an issue. I have the presentation.
Yeah, it's showing up as green, so I think it could work on our end too. If it was frozen, then we probably couldn't use it.
Okay. No problem. You know, Sean and Rob probably aren't joining, right?
No, I'm not going to send it to them.
Yeah. Okay.
Rob was of no value to me. I asked him, what should we expect for simple questions? And he told me
He
about
said nothing.
He said,
He
tell
showed
me
us.
about the
Yeah.
process.
He sent that diagram to that whole. There's a whole PDF, like literally like a SEQR for Dummies, the other day to me and Arthur, because we were asking him about it.
And don't get me started on Jody. She's the last person I need to see right now.
Let's stop talking about it before someone joins. Oh, it's getting recorded. Stop.
Really?
for the press.
Let me turn up the volume on
I
this.
just, in relative to what we talked about and the legality of it all. Whether we can basically say,
Oh, we can't. We have to follow the law.
I was saying.
No, at 200, 200.
Change the zone.
We can't change it. It has to go through the process.
Right.
So they make
Oh, I know that.
recommendations.
Recommendation.
They're just recommendations.
Yes,
It won't
I
go to,
understand.
won't go to Bill Buchanan and then go to Eric. He's a town attorney. So once we're all done with it, the committee's done with that, we're meeting, I think, on Tuesday next week. Then it will go probably to the attorney.
Yeah, the attorney already has a copy just to kind of go through.
See if there's any glaring,
Yeah,
Issues?
that's what an issue.
yeah, but he hasn't gotten our recommendation.
Right.
That's when it
And then
comes.
once the recommendation
hasn't
is,
done that.
It's true, right? You have to.
it has to go to the attorney, and actually has to go to the county and the attorney.
Yeah.
That's your.
Oh, I know, there's a whole lot of steps, but
It'll be Tuesday.
I'm just wondering, like, if the town
I'm
zoning
tired, John.
board and everybody
been hard
locally
this
agrees
week.
that we want to limit
Three
it
in
to
one.
200 acres under solar panels for community solar, is that legal?
We're already over 200.
No, we aren't.
No, we're not.
200.
100
Acres
Of
of solar
panels
arrays.
themselves.
I think we're at about 100 and a half.
No.
I think.
We're at 200, and I added them all.
You did?
Yeah, we're at 240.7.
No, you're thinking of
You're
the
you're
whole
counting the
lot.
whole parcel.
There's two different numbers.
I'm,
Is that all, is that all 7 of them or what we've approved so far?
all 7 of them.
Okay,
Okay.
that's.
Oh, yeah, we're the ones that the third one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Robin's eating, I think.
So.
Oh.
so
You might
that's
wanna
something
let
we
him
can
know that he
talk
should
about
mute
on the-
himself.
All right, let's go and call the meeting to order. And, Arthur has that.
Are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's,
They also might be, I think Robin's gonna start off on the presentation.
Oh, that's why he's
Yeah.
unmuted.
Yeah, Robin and.
Oh, so they're gonna,
Is that okay?
well, let's just say that's.
okay, I just means I can't take notes during the presentation. I can do it. Hang on. What time is, 6 o'clock? I'm sorry. All right, hang on just a sec and
Can't do it
we'll,
With a pen and paper.
I can, I'm not fast enough though.
Modern young lady.
I'm sorry, I
with
give
you.
you.
No, it's all right. I just didn't realize you
show
guys
it
were
on your
gonna do
laptop,
an
this
online
presentation?
presentation.
Just a second. Can you do that?
I think so, yeah. But I'm just wondering if on the Zoom call, because they might not, or maybe I can, hold on, sorry. I'll
You
see
can
if
log into
I-
the Zoom
yeah,
call.
can I log
She
in?
can give you control and you can do the presentation there.
Cool.
That works.
Yeah.
Robin, can you try and share your screen and see if it will show? I don't know.
Actually, I don't, I'm looking at my.
It won't allow me. I just tried.
Can you send him the link?
Okay, let
Are-
me try.
Hang on, guys. Arthur is going to share his screen here with us. So he will have control over the presentation. So give us just a second and we'll get it taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
While we're waiting, what are we doing Monday night?
3:10,
310.
public hearing downstairs.
We figured we have 100.
Seeker 2 and 3.
Secret to. And hopefully the vote.
Send.
310. You need to get Bill Buchanan's take on. Would you ask him to take on 310?
Art, what's your email?
I was getting my first name.
ARTHURR,
That's the one that
the
relates to-
SZYBALSKI.
And then add Algonquin Power.
Bill Buchanan. You send him the village's letter about,
Algonquin Power.
I can tell.
You have it?
Yep, got it.
So if you would ask him
I
for
knew
something in
Cyril
writing or
Kowalski.
an email,
So
I knew his take on it, what we should do.
When I was
That would
in
be great.
Canada.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't know too many Schmaltzes, so I would like to.
Okay, Arthur, how you doing?
I think I'm awaiting the email.
I just sent it. You should get it any second. It's difficult to run these because I really need 2 computers. And it makes it, and one of my computers went up, so I can't afford to purchase another one. I can, not from this computer. I was using my other computer to do it.
Hi, it's Christy here. I'm just wondering if we could just do a quick intro of who's in the room so the folks on the line know if we were to ask questions, who we would be talking to
Sure,
in the absence of the video.
sure. Go ahead and turn it around. So she can see.
Yeah, hang on. I'll turn on the video so you can see who's watching or who's here.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was gonna be video. Hi.
Hi, Christy. It's Deborah Backus. I'm the chair.
Oh yeah, hi Deb. How's it going?
Good.
I'm Ian McKellar, Planning Board.
Hi, Esther.
I'm Arthur, I'm back here.
I'm Siggy Bar.
John Casserly. Mike McQuaid.
Hi, Mike.
So that's who's here. Board members with Mike and Arthur.
Thank you so much.
Mike, you sound a lot better than you did the last time we had this meeting. You were really not well the last time.
And hopefully after tomorrow, I'll be much better.
Are you sick again?
No, I've got a procedure I have to get done with my throat.
Oh, okay. I hope everything goes well for you.
Go ahead, you can take minutes.
It's all right. I'll do it this way.
Sorry.
So Mike, who does Christy need to bug now? Are you gonna be off?
No, I will not be on.
I
You're
haven't seen it
taking
yet,
Friday
sorry.
off,
I'm taking Friday.
just Friday.
Did you get the?
I haven't gotten the email yet, no, that's why I'm.
Even your email even came up and said it was correct, and I sent it.
It
So
might
that's
just
really
be-
odd.
Look in your spam or your clutter.
That's a good
It should be from readvirtualsolutions@gmail.com.
That's why it probably went to
Yeah, no, I
clutter
didn't.
because of her end.
It's not going through. All right, hang on 1 second.
Send it to your Canton NY.
I'm not supposed to use that for this.
Well, it's official business.
Village only. I
I'm-
work for the village. This is town, so they're separate.
You've got a town one too, don't you?
Okay,
No.
I think I got it from just a team member. Okay, I don't know why.
Yeah, did you get it?
Yes.
Should be a Zoom link. Should be able to log right in.
Sorry. Okay, beautiful.
You're okay. And it should put you right in as soon as you get in there.
Well, I do have to say you guys have done a ton of work from the last time we met. I thought you were pretty well organized in September, but your submission, you're almost there to having a completed application. Good job.
Like a world's record.
Almost. We're almost there.
You are,
There-
you're almost,
I don't like the sound of that. We're still missing things.
I think you are. I'll go over it.
Okay.
Maybe
All
it's
right.
there, I just didn't see it and you can point me to it, Jody.
I hope so.
okay?
I hope we can. Yeah, I apologize for not being there in person. I live between Rochester and Syracuse, and I was looking at the weather forecast that there was a big wind and snowstorm between me and you, and I didn't want to get stuck in it. So
Oh,
did it
and we
actually
don't want-
happen?
We don't want you to either. This works. This
Okay.
is fine.
Okay.
Deb, just a quick question for you. I understand what you're saying, but are we able to get the SEQR Part I going tonight, or that's
Of course, as soon as you guys are ready to do your
Yeah,
presentation, we'll get into SEQR Part I.
okay? Great, that's what I want to hear. Okay.
Option to share.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
I got that, and then do I just have to ask you for it?
Nope, I got it right here. Make co-host. Make co-host.
And if you want, I can put the volume on my laptop. So to get it.
Would that be better? Doesn't matter.
Although, I guess I have no clue. Just so there's not an echo. That's
Yep.
my main concern.
Oops, I just muted it. I don't want to mute it because I think that mutes the mic too.
Okay, so then you can leave it then.
Here, try that. You can turn up your volume now.
And you can take minutes from there.
Well, they wanted the video, so
He's gonna show it.
I gotta mute it too.
It's okay. If you want, you can keep yours on there. If you like, and I'll just have mine on silent,
All right.
just to make life. Okay, I got the presentation here. And
Kayla's not on. Oh, Kayla is.
Yep,
I
Kayla.
am here. Yeah. Arthur, just so you know, I can hear you fine. So I'm sure everyone else can on Zoom.
Perfect.
Oh, okay, thank you. And I guess, so in order for me to share the,
You just hit share screen at the bottom.
oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And then pick which screen you want to share.
So I guess I'll do the main one.
Yep.
Okay, like I said, now this.
There you
that
go.
should work.
And then just start your slideshow as normal. I'll minimize this so some people can watch down here if it's easier.
Okay, you're on.
Well,
Okay, Robin, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so first of all, just wanted to thank everyone for taking time out of their day to attend this meeting, and all your time and effort that you guys put outside of these meetings for your reviews and everything is really much appreciated by the Algonquin team and Tetra Tech, of course. Arthur, next slide, please. So we quick agenda, going to do some quick introductions, go through the SUP and site plan summary of changes that we've been completing, the site plan revisions, and then we'll have a Q&A. But if you guys have any questions as we're going through the slides, there's only 3 or 4 slides more. Please feel free to interject and ask away. So just really quickly, my name is Bhavin Mistry. I am the project manager representing Algonquin Power. On the line with me, we have Christy, who is the lead environmental planner here at Algonquin Power. In front of you all is a beautiful face, Arthur, who is a planner for Liberty. And also on the line is Jody Hunt from Tetra Tech, who is the geologist, senior PM for this project. Go ahead, Arthur. So this will be kind of split up between, Christy and I will be hopping back and forth and going through this slide, but we just wanted to go through quickly the SUP and the site plan summary of changes that we've been going through since your last rounds of comments. And, we recently on November 22nd received comments from PNL. So steps that we'll be doing moving forward over the next month or so to progress this application. So Christy, I don't know, do you want to start off with the EAF?
Yeah, sure. So we received a bunch of comments on the EAF from the town planning board and the town engineer back on September 12th and October 6th. We addressed that in the package that was sent to Mike early November. And then subsequent to that, as Bhavin said, we got the BNL letter, and we also addressed those comments earlier this week and with our consultant, and we sent those to Mike, I believe, electronically on Tuesday. So in our view, we have provided you with an updated EAF form. And so maybe I'll stop there, Deb. Is there anything else that we need to do with this form, or would you be able to sign off on it now?
No, we're not able to sign off on it yet. I want to go over it point by point. There are some things that need to be revised on it, in my opinion.
Okay, all right, I'll keep moving on. Site plan set, I'll skip over because this next slide goes into that a bit more detail. I'll let Bhavin take that one. Visual assessment. So with this one, we were asked to do this additional study a couple weeks ago. We retained Stantec and provided that report. BNL came back and signed off on it. They didn't have any additional comments here. Tree inventory, we retained Arcadis, who had a certified arborist on staff, who went out there and was able to complete the inventory. As I summarized there, about 9.8 acres of trees will be cleared. None of the trees receive protection, as we are aware of, under federal or state regulation. There's no federal or state rare listed species that we know of. And there was some maple trees that were found, but as we've talked with the landowner, none of that is used for any sugar production. We also completed a noise analysis, which was also asked by us to do. We assessed the noise impacts from the inverter and transformer at the northeast corner of the site, the noise levels at the nearest adjacent property boundaries with a residence was within the 45 dBA contour and meets that requirement. And then the 54 dBA fell outside of the 45, but the argument here with our consultant was that the adjacent land use is forested, it's not used for agriculture, and there is no residence. So I believe BNL also, they did have an additional comment here that we didn't address construction noise per the nice deck guidelines. So we are working with our consultant to get that quickly updated. And I believe that was the only other comment. They did ask about if we had more inverters, but the plan is to only have one inverter. Decommissioning plan, all the comments were addressed. Our consultant removed the scrap credit value. We added a 25% contingency and 2% annual escalator to the cost estimate. I believe BNL also signed off on the decom plan as well. The O&M, all the comments have been addressed. I did see 1 or 2 comments from BNL in the November 22nd letter, but I believe those were more acknowledgements. I'll have to double check. And then I'll let Bobbin speak to these agreements that he's managing.
Yeah, so the community benefit agreement, we received the template from your office, and we're just reviewing that internally right now. So we'll be working through that. The pilot agreement, we have an application ready, but I think we're too ahead of the game right now to submit it because we do need this SUP approval to complete that application. So we will be ready to pull that trigger as soon as we get this approval. And then the NOI, this will be, I'll let Christy talk on the NOI.
Yeah, so I think in our response, we said that we are going to try and get some NYSERDA funding for the project. And so we are aware that we have to get a determination of impact from NYSDAM. We've started initial discussions with them. We have a consultant on board that will support this effort, and we will submit hopefully very soon.
All right, so in terms of site plan, have you guys seen a few iterations of this now, and the site plan is progressing to what we think is a pretty solid application, but we have addressed all of your comments and the engineer's comments. We did receive these few additional, I think there's about 8 additional comments on the site plan, which we'll work through on our next submission. So we hope to have that to you guys in the next month or so. Few of the major comments that, or not major, but few of the comments that we've highlighted here is distinguishing between the slopes labeled 5 to 10% or greater than 10%. We've already talked to the Tetra Tech team about this, and they will be addressing this, including proposed contours since grading anticipated for access road. I mean, another minor comment that can be solved with just a click of a button. Added a note that no land disturbance activity will occur within 100 feet of state regulatory wetlands. I believe our setbacks would provide more than enough setback that our site plan has identified so far. And then to provide phasing plan for the site disturbance. This is something that we wanted to discuss as possibly a condition to the SUP. At this phase of the project, it's hard for us to determine and tell you guys a phasing plan. This is typically done by our contractor when we're negotiating the contract with them. So just wanted to hear your guys' feedback on that.
The phasing plan for the construction of the solar array.
Correct.
Usually we get a preliminary, this is what we plan to do for each of your 6 months that you plan on doing the construction. Like, is that
So,
possible or not possible?
so we could provide like a very high level, steps of how the civil construction will go. But I don't know if would that be adequate? Because I don't want to get into, as Bobbin mentioned, we don't get into the weeds of it until we bring our contractor on board.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. Kayla?
Yeah, I guess all I would say is, this is for the planning board's purpose and ultimately for their review, preliminary review of the SWIP before it goes to DEC. Obviously DEC would like to see less than 5 acres of disturbance at one time unless you apply for a waiver, which we don't necessarily recommend. Sometimes it can be very difficult to get that waiver. But just showing that preliminary phasing sequence, we understand that might change once you hire a contractor. They might want to do something a little different, but it's, we're asking for something preliminary to back up the planning board's review of this.
Kayla, this will be well under 5 acres, so we're not anticipating coming anywhere near that threshold. Typically with sites this size, we say that there is no phasing, that this will be done all in one phase, and that the acreage will be below 1 acre of disturbance. So that 5 acre threshold is well outside of our reach here. So there's almost no concern there.
I mean, I don't know, Deborah, you probably saw that on the EAF too. I do have a concern with the amount of disturbance that they are proposing.
It'd be nice just to have the general. This is the
We can
general.
provide that. That's fine.
That's not something, yeah, I think, Jody, we could do that. Kayla, one thing I will ask is if we put together those steps, would you be okay if we send it to you on email just to get your feedback on it before we formally respond to planning board?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just ask that you copy Mike McQuaid on all correspondence.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you. So are we ready now to get into the SWEP? Or not the SWEP, but the,
I think Bobbin just has one more slide on schedule.
okay.
Maybe on mute.
Is this you?
No, it should be Bobbin. She might be on mute, I'm assuming.
Is she on mute?
Bobbin, are you muted?
We lost him? Okay, I could speak to it, or Arthur, you could go ahead and speak to it. Okay, so as you guys know, we kicked off permitting and our environmental studies earlier this year. We submitted our SUP application in August, mid-August. We went to the county planning board around September 12th, and then we had, September 8th, and then we had our first meeting with you guys around September 12th. We received the comments, we addressed that and resubmitted early November, and we're targeting getting our, sorry, Bobbin just said his internet cut out, so he'll dial back in. So we're targeting our special use permit in Q1 of 2023, and hoping to work through those conditions of the special use permit and bring our contractor on board, get working on our design, and submit our building permit application in Q2 of 2023, and then starting construction in Q3 with commercial operation in Q1 of 2024. So as Bobbin identified, our schedule is starting to slip a little bit with the revisions we're going through here, no fault of anyone, but just wanted to highlight that, there is a push to get this for the NYSERDA funding. And just wanted to let you guys know what our current schedule looks like.
Okay, thank you. So what I'd like to do now is go over part 1 of the SEQR. And then after we review the SEQR, then we'll go into our review of the application thus far. Okay. So I'm just going to read it, and if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to state them. So this is part one of the seeker.
Is that the one that you just,
But she,
I just pulled off?
yeah, that's the one that
Yeah.
responded to.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is 676 Old Canton Road, also known as Old Dekalb Road in Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York, and the tax map parcel number is there. And the name of the action or the project is BS Canton Solar LLC. The description is the BS Canton Solar LLC project is proposed ground mounted photovoltaic solar energy generating facility of 3.3 megawatts alternating current located at 676 Old Canton Road, also known as Old Dekalb Road, Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York. Tax map numbers there. The proposed project site is a 22.51 acres areas of larger, approximately 74.2 acre parcel of private land. The project is located approximately 3.6 miles from DeKalb Junction, New York, and 6.7 miles from Canton, New York. The PV panels proposed for this project are single axis tracker system that would be placed on a racking system that is pile driven into the ground surface. Prior to utility interconnection, direct current electrical power generated by the solar panels will be transformed to AC power modified as necessary to connect to the local electrical power supply. The project will be surrounded by an agricultural security fence with wood post. So it looks like all of the information on page one is there. Does Pauline Mahoney have a telephone or an email? That should be
Bobbin,
there.
are you back on, Bobbin?
Yeah, we have a telephone number that we can provide.
Okay, so if you would add that, that would be great. Any other
And this is
questions or comments?
3.3 megawatts?
3.3 megawatts is what they're proposing. It's a small one.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of panels to provide only 3.3 megawatts. Okay.
Government approvals, funding or sponsorship. A is city council, town board, or village board of trustees. And I think that should be yes, because aren't we the town board? The town board has to approve this, right?
Right.
So you need to change that to yes and add the town board there. I don't think it goes anywhere else, correct, Mike?
No.
B is city, town, or village planning board or commission, and it's yes, it's Canton Planning Board, special use permit, site plan review approval, and the seeker. City, town, or village zoning board of appeals is a no. Other local agencies is code enforcement for the building permit, and county agencies is St. Lawrence County Planning Department, St. Lawrence County IDA. Regional agencies is none. State agencies is DEC, SHPO, NYSERDA, and Mega Markets. And federal agencies is Army Corps of Engineers for the wetland jurisdiction determination.
Are there anything like the fire department or anything else?
Oh, yeah, do we usually have the fire
Local
department?
agencies.
Local
Under local
agencies.
agencies?
All right, under local agencies, add the fire department on there.
Can I cut in for a moment here? Are you planning to provide these comments in a written document anywhere? We can go on sort of to an unlimited extent with local agencies here. It would be helpful if you could document this for us.
You can have our notes.
That would be
It'll
helpful
take
if
a
you could
while
just.
It will take a while for Jenny to get the minutes to you, but if you take notes as we're going along and change it, then you can.
Yes,
submit
we're
it
doing
and
that.
it will
Well,
get a lot faster.
I'm only just asking if you could. It's been my experience that we can go round and round with updates to an EAF to the point where it gets to there's no end to it. So yeah, if we could just have what exactly you want in this section, that would be helpful. I mean, whatever agencies you want listed here, within reason, we'll be happy to add.
Sure.
But
I'm just saying, if you take notes as we go along, you can make the changes.
and we are, yeah,
into
for sure.
B&L, and then B&L can send it out a lot quicker than it will take.
For sure.
our
Yep,
recording
understood.
secretary to get it to you. Wow,
There would be 2 fire departments on this one.
The only one.
Canton.
DeKalb Junction.
DeKalb Junction.
Oh, and
So Mike, the fire department, and I don't know if I'm mixing up projects, so forgive me. But I seem to recall the fire department was consulted a couple weeks ago. But is that a separate process here? Because we're talking about EAF? Because he did look at the site plan, and I believe he provided a letter.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I saw his letter.
Yeah, okay.
And it was from Canton Fire Department. And actually Rensselaer Falls falls underneath Canton, right? Do they need it under DeKalb as well?
Closest one.
It's closest to DeKalb. It might be DeKalb Fire District.
Oh, not even Canton Fire District.
Canton Fire District.
All right, so maybe DeKalb should be the fire department that you do and
I'm
not
sure,
Canton.
yeah, I can check that.
So Mike will follow up on that one. Anything else
Okay,
on
thank
the
you.
government approvals? Okay, Coastal Resources is a project within a coastal area or waterfront area of a designated inland waterway. The answer is no. Is the project site located in the community with an approved local waterfront revitalization program? And the answer is no. Is the project site within a coastal erosion hazard area? And the answer is no. Any other changes for B, government approvals? Okay. C is planning and zoning. C1 is planning and zoning actions. Will the administrative or legislative adoption or amendment of a plan, local law, ordinance, rule, or regulation be the only approval which must be granted to enable the proposed action to proceed? And the answer is no. If no, proceed to C2. C2 is adopted land use plans. A, do any municipally adopted city, town, village, or county comprehensive land use plan include the site where the proposed action would be located? And the answer is yes. If yes, does the comprehensive plan include specific recommendations for the site where the proposed action will be located? The answer is no. E, is the site of the proposed action within the local or regional special planning district, for example, Greenway, Brownfield Opportunity Area, designated state or federal heritage site, watershed management plan, or other? And the answer is no. C, is the proposed action located wholly or partially within an area listed in an adopted municipal open space plan? And the answer is yes, and it's the St. Lawrence County Agricultural Development Plan. Any comments, questions, revisions on C2? Okay, C3 is zoning. A, is the site of the proposed action located in a municipality with an adopted zoning law or ordinance? And the answer is yes. If yes, the zoning classification is the zone. B, is the use permitted or allowed by a special or conditional use permit? And the answer is yes. C, is the zoning change requested as part of the proposed action? And the answer is no. Any questions or comments about C3 zoning? C4, existing community services, and what school district is a project site located? It's Herman DeKalb. What police or other public protection forces serve the project site? Canton Police, is it Canton? Police
No,
out there?
the county sheriff. Did you hear that, Jody?
No, I'm sorry. What? Say that again, please.
The police for B, C4B, is St. Lawrence County Sheriff, and New York State Police. It's not the Canton Police Department.
Okay.
So C, is which fire protection and emergency medical services serve the project site? And you think it's DeKalb?
I'm thinking. it's
The St. Lawrence, and this was not in Kayla's notes. St. Lawrence County Sheriff and who else? I'm sorry.
New York State Police.
Okay, state police.
So Kayla may not know that specific.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. As long as
He
I
is
have
your fire protection, Mike is going to double check, but we think it's DeKalb, not
Okay.
Canton.
gotcha.
What part serve the project site? There's none. Y'all agree with C4? D, with those changes? All right. D is project details. D1 is proposed and potential development. A is what is the general nature of a proposed action? And it's solar energy generating facility, a public utility. B, what's the total acreage of the site of the proposed action? Is 22.51 acres. The total acreage to be physically disturbed is 6.59 acres. And the total acreage project site and any contiguous properties owned or controlled by the applicant or project sponsor is 74.2 acres. C, is a proposed action expansion of an existing project or use? And the answer is no. D, is the proposed action a subdivision or does it include a subdivision? And the answer is no. E, will the proposed action be constructed in multiple phases? And the answer is no. And if no, the anticipated period of construction is 4 to 6 months. Any questions, comments, recommendations about D1? Oh, no, I'm not done with D1. I'm sorry. There is more. F, does the project include new residential uses? The answer is no. Does the proposed action include new non-residential construction, including expansions? And the answer is yes. The total number of structures are 8,700. Is that racks or panels?
What was the number? Sorry.
8,700. Is that the panels?
That would be
Yeah.
panels.
Panels?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Dimensions and feet of the largest proposed structure is 12 feet high, 15 feet wide, and 676 feet in length. Approximate extent of building space to be heated or cooled is 10A. H, does the proposed action include construction or other activities that will result in the impoundment of any liquid, such as creation of a water supply, reservoir, pond, lake, waste lagoon, or other storage? And the answer is no. Okay, now I think we're ready. Are we ready? Any concerns, questions, recommendations for D1?
Does it have anything to do with the tree disturbance in land?
Not yet. Okay. Not for trees yet. All right, we good with this?
Deborah, do you mind if I comment on disturbance?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, so typically we recommend that a conservative approach is taken when identifying physical disturbance on the property. Mainly, we understand it's very challenging to prevent soil disturbance with heavy machinery and equipment in the field when installing these panels. So our recommendation to the board is that this is, you know, a more conservative acreage, more in line with the limits of disturbance shown on the site plans.
Physical disturbance doesn't mean cutting down trees.
It can, if the trees need to be grubbed, and totally uprooted in order to install these panels, then that would be definitely considered disturbance. But the equipment just to mobilize to do that could be considered disturbance as well.
What was the question, Kayla? I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
So it's D1B. Total acreage should be physically disturbed is what we're talking about.
Okay.
So that acreage needs to be increased to include the tree removal and any grading that you're going to do, any disturbance of that property.
So agreed, if there would be actual disturbance and we would be conservative per Kayla's definition, if there was grubbing or heavy equipment to be used. If we were going to be hand clearing, like, a person with a chainsaw, that would not be ground disturbance. I think we would take that into consideration.
So what is the
Yeah,
plan?
but Jody, we don't know what our contractor is gonna do, right? We don't know the
Correct.
means and the methods. So it's better, I agree with Kayla, it's better to be conservative.
Agreed.
Because we just don't have that visibility as.
At this
Agreed.
stage, we recognize that a SWIP is going to be required regardless, so
Yep.
we prefer just to be conservative overall.
And I think that we've been fairly conservative with our preliminary SWIP and with our calculations throughout. We can make those revisions consistent here too if something isn't consistent.
So should we leave it at 6.59 acres or?
I think that that's a very conservative number for this site, given that this is a 3.3 megawatt site with that sort of clearing. I really do.
Okay.
I mean, overall, solar projects are not a large amount of physical disturbance.
Deborah, I will note, recently we've reached out to DC because obviously we come across this question a lot on these reviews. Their guidance essentially back to us is that, just like Jody said, they're usually on solar projects, they're trying not to disturb that much acreage. However, they're not intending to go over, that much acreage. 5 acres disturbed based on design. But during construction, they see a lot of vehicle traffic and tracking between rows that end up creating disturbance. So again, just emphasizing, I think the most conservative approach would be the entire fenced in area and all areas around the access road. Again, I'll leave it up to the board's discretion on what they would like to go to.
That seems like,
Jody, could you let the board decide, please? Thank you.
okay, I'd be glad to. I would just say that that would be unprecedented and not something that I have seen the DEC comment on before.
Okay.
So I was just noticing, I mean, that was from the presentation, that they were going to approximately 19 acres of
Right.
trees.
That is a lot.
That's a lot more than we've heard or seen from.
So,
Okay, then that's fine, I mean, that's okay. But I was going by what they gave us rather than.
no, thank you for that. I totally missed that. So Kayla,
Yes,
what we're suggesting is that the total acreage to be physically disturbed is the 22.51 acres, correct?
yes, that's what's shown on the drawings.
So
And
we
that's
have,
more accurate of where there will be mobility on the site.
you really do.
Yes.
Okay.
No, not at all.
No, just
Trying to
another
clarify,
revision.
yeah.
So D2 project anything else about do on project operations? A, does the proposed action include any excavation, mining, or dredging during construction? Operations or both? And the answer is no. B, would the proposed action cause or result in alterations of, increase or decrease in size of, or encroachment into existing wetland, water body, shoreline, beach, or adjacent area? And the answer is no. C, will the proposed action use or create a new demand for water? And the answer is no. D, will the proposed action generate liquid waste? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action use any existing public wastewater treatment facilities? And the answer is no. E, will a new wastewater treatment district be formed to serve the project site? And the answer is no. And E, will the proposed action, hold on. Will the proposed action disturb more than 1 acre and create stormwater runoff, either from new point sources like ditches, pipes, swales, curbs, gutters, or other concentrated flows of stormwater, or non-point source during sheet flow, during construction or post-construction? And the answer is yes. And how much impervious surface will the project create in relation to the total size of the project? And I had a note and I didn't do this. You have 0.07 acres of impervious surface. Is that correct? Is that what's on here?
That's
On this
correct.
That is correct.
Okay, and the total parcel size is 74.2 acres. Describe types of new point sources as NA. Where will all the stormwater runoff be directed? And on-site stormwater management structures are needed. Don't you have just a grass filter strip for your stormwater on your SWEP?
Yes, that's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
right, Bobbin? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just that grass filter strip, as I recall. Does the proposed plan minimize impervious surfaces, use pervious material, or collect and reuse stormwater? And the answer is yes. One more thing, will stormwater runoff flow to adjacent property? And the answer is no. F, does the proposed action include or will it use on-site one or more sources of air emissions, including fuel, combustion, waste, incineration, or other processes or operation? And the answer is no. G, will any air emission sources named in D2F above require a New York State air registration, air facility permit, or federal Clean Air Act Title 4 or Title 5 permit? And the answer is no. H, will the proposed action generate or emit methane? And the answer is no. I, will the proposed action result in the release of air pollutants from open air operations or processes such as quarry or landfill operations? And the answer is no. J, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels or generate substantial new demand for transportation facilities or services? And the answer is no. A, will the proposed action for commercial or industrial projects only generate new or additional demand for energy? And the answer is no. Hours of operations are Monday through Friday during construction, 7 A to 7 P, Saturday 7 A to 7 P, and during operations, it's going to be daylight hours. We're not still on this one, aren't we? M, will the proposed action produce noise that will exceed existing ambient noise levels during construction, operation, or both? And the answer is yes. And they're doing that noise survey with the construction noise. We only have it after construction, just regular operation of the facility. General vehicle equipment noise during construction hours will be Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be no noise disturbance during project operation. And 2, will the proposed action remove existing natural barriers that could act as a noise barrier or screen? And the answer is yes. It's 5.79 acres of tree brush is proposed for removal. And that's different than what you just presented. You said it was how many acres?
9.8.
9.8. And will the proposed action have outdoor lighting? And the answer is no. Does the proposed action have the potential to produce odors? And the answer is no. P, will the proposed action include any bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products? And the answer is no. Q, will the proposed action, commercial, industrial, and recreational projects only use pesticides, for example, herbicides and insecticides during construction or operation? And the answer is yes. Herbicides will be used as needed to manage the presence of invasive herbaceous species and preserve native pollinated vegetation providing visual impact. 2, will the proposed action use integrated pest management practices? And that's not checked. What was your answer to that? Are you going
Sorry,
to
can you repeat that one, Deb?
proposed action use integrated pest management practices? Are you gonna? I don't, you need to answer that question.
Okay.
They won't.
Okay, I would say that you wouldn't be, but I don't know. Yeah. R, will the proposed action, commercial or industrial projects only involve or require the management of disposal of solid waste? And the answer is yes. Describe any solid waste to be generated during construction or operation of the facility. Construction is about 2 tons per 30 days unit of time, and the operation is none. 2, describe any proposals for on-site minimization, recycling, or reuse of materials to avoid disposal of solid waste. In construction, we have wood pallets and wire spools will be shipped to their respective manufacturers for reuse. Cardboard, plastic, and metal strappings, extra wire, and cable will be shipped to a recycling center. Operation is none. Proposed disposal methods, facilities for solid waste generated on site. Construction, they just said see above. And it has that it's going to be shipped to a recycling center. In operation is NA. S, does the proposed action include construction or modification of a solid waste management facility? And the answer is no. T, will the proposed action at the site involve the commercial generation, treatment, storage, or disposal of hazardous waste? And the answer is no. Any comment, questions other than what we said?
So the trees to be removed, or what's the real number?
9 point, whatever they just said, whatever they
So
presented
what
us.
about the other number was there?
They gotta change it.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And-
question their need to use herbicide
Yeah, we didn't question
to
that.
control invasive species. I mean, who's gonna do that? If there's wild parsnip out there, somebody gonna go out there
I think,
and hand spray 20 some acres?
can you hold on to that thought when we go over the general thought project? Okay, and we'll ask those questions. Then. All right, Ian? E, site and setting of proposed action. E1 is land uses on and surrounding the project, and we have existing land uses as forest, agricultural, and rural. If mix of uses generally described, and we just have rural, agricultural, and the forest. B, the land use and cover types on the project site. This should really tally up to the 74.2 acres, and you have 22.51 acres for current and acreage after project completion, and the change, you have a negative on the change of 0.65 of an acre. So this needs to be tallied correctly up to the 74.2 acres. And this is agricultural land, so there can be 0 for acreage of agricultural land. That needs to be changed as well. President, you see that? C is a project site presently used. Huh?
No, I didn't just say, it says active orchards, fields, greenhouses, etc.
But it's a field, right? It's
Yeah.
agriculture is a
Yeah.
field. It's
Yeah,
being
it's a-
used for hay production.
I just didn't.
It's considered prime farmland,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
No, this one wasn't.
No.
This one wasn't?
No.
This one was not.
No, because it isn't. It's got rocks sticking up all over the
Oh.
place.
Well, this is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, this one's a
This
good
is-
one.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the only one the county has approved since February.
Yay.
Yes.
So we just gotta get.
Well,
Okay.
I
and I'm
agree with you.
wondering if that's
This
why they
back
put
is-
0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's, it's gotta
Yeah.
tally up better than
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I would consider including abandoned agricultural.
Yeah, abandoned.
It's abandoned.
They're not using that for
And
any
then
agriculture.
agricultural, keep that at 0 because it's not in
because
use.
it's not.
Okay. So don't you put in the agriculture, is that what you're telling me?
No,
For
no,
the
what I'm saying-
74.2 acres?
Included in abandoned,
Included in abandoned.
above, included in the above.
Okay.
It's abandoned.
None of the 74 acres is being used for any
Active.
agricultural purposes?
They said.
That I
that-
didn't know. Oh, they do? Oh, that's-
They do take, well, then it's agricultural.
You're right.
I think it was mowed this summer.
Yeah, then it's agricultural, whatever that percentage is. Where am I? C, is the project site presently used by members of the community for public recreation? And the answer is no. D, are there any facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities within 1,500 feet of the project site? And the answer is no. E, does the project site contain an existing dam? It does not. F, has the project site ever been used as a municipal, commercial, or industrial solid waste management facility? Or does the project site adjoin property which is now or was at one time used as a solid waste management facility? And the answer is no. G, have hazardous waste been generated, treated, and or disposed of at the site? Or does the project site adjoin property which is now or was at one time used to commercially treat, store, and or dispose of hazardous waste? And the answer is no. H, potential contamination history. Has there been a reported spill at the proposed project site, or have any remedial action been conducted at or adjacent to the project site? And the answer is no. 3 is underneath H. Is the project within 2,000 feet of any site in the New York State DEC Environmental Site Remediation Database? And it is not. Okay. C, is the project site subject to an institutional control limiting property use? And the answer is no. Any concerns or questions about E1 other than what we talked about? No?
It just wanted a confirmation for E1B where we have the current acreage after and the change. Our understanding for the section, which is why it doesn't show the 74, is that this was just for the project site, not for the whole parcel. So just wanted confirmation you wanted these numbers for the parcel.
That's right. For the parcel, that's what we've been doing.
Understood.
recently.
Okay. Yeah, we do. Bhavin, you're right. We typically fill that out just for the project site, but we can fill that out for the whole parcel if that's what the town prefers.
Thank you. E2 is natural resources on or near the project site. A is what is the average depth to bedrock on the project site? It is 0 to greater than 6 feet. B, are there outcroppings on the project site? And there are. And if yes, what proportion of the site is comprised of bedrock outcroppings? Is 15%. Predominant soil types are all listed there, and that's the same as what was on the, I think this is the soil type, so I thought that was okay. What is the average depth to the water table on the project site? It's 3 feet. Drainage status of the project site, we only have 66.1% poorly drained. What about the rest? Can you make it equal 100%? Be able to do that, right? So we need that to be equivalent to 100% of the site. F, approximate proportion of proposed action site with slopes. The entire site is 0 to 10%. Are there any unique geologic features on the project site? And the answer is no. H, surface water features. I, does a portion of the project site contain wetlands or other water bodies, including streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes? And the answer is yes. Do any wetlands or other water bodies adjoin the project site? And the answer is yes. If yes to either one or two above, if then we got to keep going. Are any of the wetlands or water bodies within or adjoining the project site regulated by any federal, state, or local agency? And the answer is yes. For each identified regulated wetland and water body on the project site, provide the following information. So we have streams, and it's identified as a Class D, and then we have your wetlands that are federal wetlands. And you have the approximate site is 0, but I believe it should be 29.6 acres per your wetland delineation report. And then V, are there any of the above water bodies listed in the most recent compilation of New York State water quality impaired water bodies? And the answer is no. Is the project site in a designated floodway? The answer is no. Is it in a 100-year floodplain? The answer is no. A 500-year floodplain? The answer is no. Is the project site located over immediately adjoining or a primary, principal, or sole source aquifer? And the answer is no. Identify the predominant wildlife species that occupy or use the site. We have squirrels, rabbits, and deer. And does the project site contain a designated significant natural community? And the answer is no. O, does the project site contain any species of plant or animal that is listed by the federal government or New York State as endangered or threatened, or does it contain any areas identified as habitat for an endangered or threatened species? And the answer is no. And I'm trying to remember to. Is there anything, was there anything there from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife?
I don't think so. Jody, can you confirm?
I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think so, Deb.
All right, so before we do the next meeting for the project, can you get that report then from U.S. Fish and Wildlife?
The iPad, yeah. It should be attached to the wetlands report. Not so?
I don't recall seeing it. You have the EAP mapper here, but I don't recall seeing it on the wetland delineation report.
Okay, I'll double check with our consultant and we could provide that.
Thank you. P, does the project site contain any species of plant or animal that is listed by New York State as rare or a species of special concern? And the answer is no, but you are going to get that response from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Q, is a project site or an adjoining area currently used for hunting, trapping, fishing, or shell fishing? And the answer is no. Any questions or concerns, comments about E? Okay. E3, designated public resources on or near the project site. Is the project site or any portion of it located in a designated agricultural district certified pursuant to Ag and Market Law, Article 25-AA, Section 303 and 304? The answer is yes, and it is STL 002, it's Ag District 2. B, are the agricultural lands consisting of highly productive soils present? And the answer is yes. It's 16.2 acres, most of which will remain undisturbed. And it's from the USDA Web and Soil Survey. So right there we have the egg, the prime egg, right? C, does the project site contain all or part of, or is it substantially contiguous to a registered national natural landmark? And the answer is no. D, is the project site located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? And the answer is no. E, does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commission of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? And the answer is no, and they submitted a letter of no effect from Chabot. F, is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites from the New York State Historic Preservation Office, Archaeological Site Inventory? And the answer is no. You have additional archaeological or historic sites or resources been identified on the project site? And the answer is no. H, is a project site within 5 miles of any officially designated and publicly accessible federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resources? And the answer is, you have it listed as no, but then you identified them as, so you need to change that to yes. So the resource is Upper and Lower Lakes Wildlife Management Area, and is there a state park? What's the state park there?
You where and how, what was the distance? 5 miles?
Doesn't say. We have 5 miles. We got Scott, we have a state park, it's located within 3 miles of project. So what state park is that,
There is.
you know?
No, it must be upper and lower. They must be using that for mileage.
So, yeah, you can identify what is that state park. I is a project site located within the designated river corridor under the wild, scenic, and recreational river program 6 NYCRR 666, and the answer is no. All right. We approve this with those recommendations. You can have.
Okay.
Deborah, I just
Yeah.
want to mention, I did find it, the IPAC report in appendix or attachment H in the site plan application. And
thank
the only species listed is the monarch butterfly as a candidate.
All
similar
right.
to-
We know that then.
Yep,
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
no problem.
Geez, so that would be under P, the monarch butterfly. Okay. The first recommendation.
I can't.
You can't. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, I can, I'm official. I make a motion for approval.
All those in favor?
All right.
Do I have to say approval with these conditions?
With those
Yes,
revisions,
with those revisions and
Yeah.
additions.
yes. Any opposed, any abstain? All right. Okay, use this, all right. Okay. So resolution 2022-0015, proposed action, BS Canton Solar LLC, 676 Old Canton Road. Resolution declaring the intent of the town of Canton Planning Board to act as lead agency. Whereas the town of Canton Planning Board is reviewing a site plan application for the proposed BS Canton Solar LLC project located at 676 Old Canton Road in the town of Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York. And whereas the project has been classified as a type 1 action as defined by the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR and 6 NYCRR Part 617.4. And whereas it is the intent of the town of Canton Planning Board to assume the role of lead agency for purposes of conducting a SEQR assessment of the project. And whereas part 1 of the full environmental assessment form has been prepared by the applicant and reviewed by the town of Canton Planning Board, will be circulated to all involved and interested agencies for purposes of establishing the town of Canton Planning Board as lead agency in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617.6. Now therefore it be it resolved and determined that the town of Canton Planning Board will send said part 1 of the full environmental assessment form and associated site plan to the attached list of interested involved agencies under cover of a notice of intent to establish lead agency letter for purposes of establishing lead agency status under SEQR. And it is further resolved that the chair of the Canton, chair of the town of Canton Planning Board, together with the town attorney and BNL, are hereby authorized to take all actions, serve all notices, and complete all documents required to give full force and effect to this determination. The question of adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to vote, and upon roll call, the vote was as follows. Aye. The foregoing resolution was therefore declared duly adopted on today's date, and I hereby certify that this resolution was adopted on 12/1/2022 and recorded in the meeting minutes of the town of Canton Planning Board. So this will go to the fire chief. You've got Canton Fire and Rescue here. We probably should really have DeKalb. We'll change that to DeKalb. Caleb?
Yes, I can change that. And I also wanted to mention, I know there was a question about the Farm Bureau moving forward. If that's an agency you want us to send this to as well, that's no problem either. It's up to the board.
Farm Bureau. That was a Betsy recommendation, wasn't it? Send it to Farm Bureau. They don't have any say.
You talking about the Ag Protection Board?
No, Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau.
No, I'm not hearing that people want that.
Okay.
So we have Well, send it to DeKalb.
What do we usually do? We usually have a certain people. send it to.
Yeah, I think that's what I-
Yeah, I was reading that.
So,
It's
right.
DeKalb Junction Fire Department.
DeKalb Junction Fire Department. You can send it to Bob Crow too, who's already responded. And doesn't have an issue with the site plans. Just-
Yeah, I guess this letter would just confirm they're okay with you acting as lead agency.
Yeah, but I would, yeah, I say, what I'm trying to say, Kayla, is send it to
Mhm.
Bob Crow, but also send it to DeKalb Junction Fire Department.
Okay, so send it to both of them.
I would send it to both.
It's a lot.
So, Deb or Kayla, do you guys need any like contact information from us, or do you guys have everything that you need for that?
We have everything that we need to send it out.
Okay,
The
great.
lead interested and involved agencies, we have a list of them.
Okay,
And
great.
Kayla will send out as soon as you get her the revised SEQR Part I. And Jenny, when do you think you can get her those revisions?
I can do notes for you. They won't be the official minutes, but I can do the notes. I have tomorrow. I should be able to get them tomorrow. If not, I'll get them done over the weekend and get them in by Monday.
Or you can
Those
just,
will just be notes on the changes that are needed. The official minutes will take me a little longer. But I can type up some quick notes faster.
perfect.
Okay, so Deb, just a question for clarity purpose. You won't send out the letters until you get the revised form, or that could happen
That's
in
correct.
parallel?
That is correct. And Kayla is going to send them out, being
Yeah.
out with all the involved agencies. So as soon as she gets that revised SEQR Part I, she can they'll send it out for you. So we're looking at, and so that'll probably take how long? Today is what?
We're gonna have to work with our consultant.
So mid-January, are you thinking to make your 30-day public hearing? Or late January? What do you want to do?
Can you, maybe we could work with Mike to provide you with a range of dates, mid to late January, that would work for the team, because likely would be our directors coming down, because I think I mentioned to Mike, Bhavin and I have some travel challenges right now. But for public hearing, we're trying to get our boss to come down. So if we could send Mike a range of dates, would that work?
Well, we can go ahead and we can set a date at the end of January. And if it's going to be different than that, then let us know. How's that?
Okay.
That sounds
okay.
good.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fine. Yeah.
we have the board here, we can set a date.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do that. Yeah.
So you guys can look at your calendars, the end of January.
That'll be the week of the 23rd,
We like Mondays.
Yeah.
the 23rd.
January.
Okay.
January.
What works? You lucked out. I'm
Yeah,
available that
See
day.
that?
January 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah.
So January 23rd, and if that's not possible for you to get that SEQR in and out for the 30-day review, that gives you actually quite a bit of time to get it done.
Yeah. And Deb, would that meeting be in the evenings, like typical,
Yeah,
like what?
6 o'clock, 6 p.m. on the 23rd of January.
Okay, and that gets advertised, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, and how much days notice do you need for that?
30, at least 30 days.
Oh, 30 days, okay.
Oh, for the actual public notice, it has to be published at least 10 days prior to the meeting. So I would, if any changes need to happen, I would need to know like 2 weeks prior.
2 weeks prior. Understood.
At the very latest. Otherwise, I will get it published for a 10-day period prior.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
So typically at the same time, if the application is complete, they can go ahead and look at the application and approve it for your special use permit. So let's go over the project, and we'll go over our questions and what we think is still missing or confusing. Okay. So we have, and I just have them listed. So the lease is all there. I don't think there's any further follow-up needed for the lease. We have in the site plans, we have for prime soil, we only have 1.22 acres of prime soil, and prime soil if drained is 10 acres, but then it doesn't add up to the 22.51 acres. So what about the rest? What are they? You know what I mean?
No, we'll definitely look at the map again.
It's here, it's on here somewhere, right here. You see?
Yeah.
And this feature impact, it all adds up to 99.11. And that's not the acreage we're working with.
Right.
And the area impacted,
Does that include the wetland?
no,
do
it's
the wet-
74.2 acres is the whole project.
And that includes,
Yeah, but
yeah,
does the wetlands.
but is the
and stuff
wetland
included?
ancillary?
I don't
And
know.
then they included that in there?
I don't know. It's too many acres for the
Yeah.
for the
I mean,
site.
it's bigger.
And then the area impacted is only 14.26 acres, where you're working with 22.51. It doesn't make, you
Yeah,
see,
no,
it doesn't
the-
make
the
sense to
map
me. I
is-
didn't
yeah.
understand it.
No, it's because, I mean, I think that one is because there's areas in between rows, even underneath panels that won't be impacted, right? So that's why it's a smaller number than what's actually within the fenced area.
Still going to be
No.
an impacted acreage, so it needs to tally up to your 22.51 acres for area.
Yeah,
And your-
Deb, I believe that is by parcel, not by site. That's why. So when they say prime soils, I can't remember the number. You have it there. I think that is in relative to the project parcel, not the project site.
Understood, but your total number of soils need to add up to the 22.51, and your total number of soils for areas impacted only adds up to 14.
Okay, well, we'll have to take it back with Tetra Tech engineer. Mhm.
Thank you. Ag data statements required because it's in an ag district. They've submitted one in appendix F, dated 7/18/22. It's compliant. We don't need any further follow-up on it, I don't think. The access road, they revised, these are the revised site plans. On C204, it has the access road. We asked that it be 16 foot wide when we met in September. It is now 16 feet wide, so I didn't think we needed any further follow-up with that. The noise analysis, they did that and they submitted it, but it's only for the pre-construction noise analysis. It was completed 10/14/22, and it had acceptable ambient noise levels during operation. But we need,
Pre-construction, post.
no, we need, they did a pre-construction, but they didn't do it during construction. So
Okay,
we
got it.
need to know what
For
that
construction,
noise
yeah.
is going to be during construction.
Okay.
And we wanted a clarification of all the inverters proposed on the project were included in the noise projections, but you said that there was only one inverter, correct?
Only
Correct,
one
yeah.
inverter, correct?
And
Yeah.
and the one inverter was used for the noise analysis?
Correct.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Mhm.
Okay. So we don't need that. We just need that during construction noise, and you already had addressed that. Alternate energy systems, our law is that we reduce the impacts on neighboring property owners, and we needed photo simulations displaying the current site conditions, provided included line of sight profiles and elevation views of neighboring residential properties and roadways. You did give us a visual impact study. It was dated 10/26/2022. And there was no adverse visual impact with the landscape screening per BNL. So I don't think we need any further follow-up with a visual analysis. You agree? Exterior lighting, there's none planned, so no further follow-up. Solar collector glare, our law is to minimize it. They did a glare analysis and results indicate there will be no adverse impacts due to glare. So I don't think we need any further follow-up with that. Then our comprehensive plans for the town on resiliency and sustainability, where it's supposed to promote alternative energy while prioritizing protection of prime farmland. And St. Lawrence County Plan asks to minimize the displacement of ag land that will be taken out of production for the duration of the lease. Prepare and submit a plan that identifies how land within the fenced area will be used to accommodate a compatible agricultural use while the array is in operation. So the landowner can get to the back of the land. They're going to put in a pollinator mix. I don't know how you can, what compatible agricultural use you could use for this land.
I mean, other than the bees and the pollen.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
Does anybody?
No.
No.
No sheep.
So I don't think we need anything with that.
An interesting point of view, Deb, is I was talking to our operations because our business is divided into development, construction, operation, and just an interesting fact because I think it came out of the county's discussion a couple months ago, and I started running it to ground internally, only to find out that we are testing at some of our operated sites in Virginia and Maryland. These are utility scale projects, more than 25 megawatts in size. Our operation folks are testing out the sheep grazing. So it's a model that we are looking into. So you never know what we could do down the road at Canton.
Well, we'd like to see the sheep grazing model. I'll put that down as a possibility.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in it too. And Bhavin and I did have this discussion with our ops. It's currently in, I would say in the testing phase. But I think it's good news for our company that we're going in that direction.
Absolutely great. Thank you. Solar law setbacks. These revised site plans on C204 show that the closest resident building is 101 feet away. The wetland setbacks are 109 feet away, the closest one, and the adjacent property boundaries are 25 feet away. So that's all within our solar law. So I think no further follow-up on it. Our rules zone law says that setbacks are front 75, sides 15, rear 30, frontage 200, minimum lot size is 1 acre. So theirs is a front setback of 347 feet, sides are 25, the rear is 1890 feet. I don't know what the frontage setback is, but it's pretty significant for road frontage. Do you have any idea how many feet that road frontage setback is?
No, but it would be more than 200, right? Because the residences on the parcel are more than 200 feet.
Yeah, I think it's well over, it might even be well over 300 feet, sorry.
Okay, good. Fencing, our law says 6 foot minimum, no barbed wire, wildlife friendly, self-locking gate. And these revised site plans on C501 say it's a 7 foot high mesh fence with 6-inch wildlife gap. There's a double swing 24 foot self-locking gate. And it looks like it only has a 2-inch wildlife gap. Is that correct?
Yeah, Bhavin, can you check
Double
that
check.
on the detail sheet, maybe?
I have it open, one
Gate,
second.
gate. See right here, here's the gate. We can only have 2 inches there. See, these
The
are
gate,
the 6-inch.
the gate shows 2 inches, correct, on the
Yeah.
detail.
Can
But
you
the
make-
rest of the fence shows 6 inches.
Absolutely. Do we need the gate to be 6-inch wildlife
No,
gap?
I think it's.
I don't think so, because you've got all the others are 6
No.
inches. I mean,
Okay. So we don't need to increase that.
I
not
think there's a
talking about how
reason why
wide-
it's
yeah.
2 inch.
All right. So there's an emergency pedestrian access gate located in the southeastern portion of the site as well. So no further follow-up on fencing. Safety, our law is that you share the information with the fire department and identify the shutdown on the site plan. We did send a letter to the Canton Fire Chief and he responded on 10/17 saying he was fine with it. And there is a knock box
okay,
and a
knock
shut off that's located on the revised plan.
Mhm.
St. Lawrence, was it, no, B and L had a comment. Let me just read it. Recommends that access and a turnaround be provided at the proposed equipment pad. Kayla, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, we want to make sure that if there's a car on site that's, working on maintenance or, operation, whatnot, that say there was an emergency, that car wouldn't be blocking the access road and the point in the middle of the site where there's the turnaround roundabout. I think Bob and you've talked to John about this. Are you guys planning on revising that? I think I saw an updated layout where there's a pull-off area by the concrete pad.
Yeah, we're working with John to address this comment. We've put in a suggestion to him, and he came back with some comments. So the next revision will definitely have something that's already been reviewed by BNL implemented.
Okay. And you typically do this with your companies, I believe, but some kind of malware software being installed.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So just something to that effect for the board.
347 feet from the road to the.
What?
347 to the
Yes.
level.
I was looking at this setback, the front road frontage setback. SHPO, we require it, and we did get a letter on 8/14/22 stating with that. So no further follow-up with that. Transmission lines and interconnection. We require that it be up under the ground where feasible and above the ground tall enough for farm equipment and guide wires, but it's discouraged. This C201 shows that it's illustrates the interconnection point and underground transmission line. Do you have an interconnection coordinated review with National Grid?
We have a signed interconnection agreement with National Grid.
Okay, can you give
Yeah.
Mike that?
I think that was part of one of our original submissions, but I will make sure that we send it over.
Yeah, you're right. It was part of the original application.
Okay, I didn't see it. But I didn't see it in all those documents, but that doesn't mean anything. We'll get around.
Yeah, we could send it again to Mike. Yeah.
Great,
251 pages.
probably.
Yes,
So-
it was in there.
So it was?
Yeah, it
You
was.
saw it?
In the big book.
Oh,
Big book.
That one,
Yeah.
yeah.
I bet
the
you
one
it's in
I
that-
just gave to
I
Arthur?
bet you it's in that big book right there.
Chrissy, no need to resend it because Mike thinks we
I
have it.
think we have it.
Mike, I
Yeah,
think
we
it's
will.
attachment I in that.
Attachment I.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla.
All right, so that's done.
When she said original, I'm like, yeah, now.
So no
The fat
further
thing.
follow-up is needed under transmission lines and interconnections. You all agree? Signs, our solar law, you know what it says. Anyway, these revised plans show the sign schematics. They are compliant. The locations of the signs are present on C204 of the 10/22, 28 site plans. So no further follow-up on signs. Tree and existing vegetation removal we require you to minimize it or offset it. So St. Lawrence County Planning Board, somebody's talking.
There, thank you.
St. Lawrence County Planning Board suggested they prepare and submit a forest inventory of the 6.5 acres that's proposed for clearing. They did do that. It was quite detailed. There's 108 live trees and 21 dead ones that they're going to take out. And this site plan shows about 5.79 areas to be cleared, but that's different than what you presented today. You said it was 8 point something, so you might have to
9.8,
change the
9.8.
site plan to the 8.
9.8.
Change to 9.8.
Deb, just a quick question for you, because I think this came out during our county meeting, or maybe the sort of a pre-app meeting we had months ago. Do we have to discuss at some point with the planning board tree mitigation, or
No, not necessarily.
none? Okay, thank you.
Tree planting and vegetative reseeding is included in the decommissioning process. It's dated 11/1/22. These revised site plans, C203 illustrates the tree and shrub planting on the northwestern boundary. So I didn't think we needed any further follow-up on trees and vegetation. Do y'all agree?
Did they say what kind of?
They
trees
do.
wanna do?
They do. And it's some kind of, it's on C203. While you're looking at that. So our zoning law 70-33 alternate energy systems require us to reduce the impacts on neighboring properties. And did I already talk about this? The visual impact study? Am I going backwards?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, I am going backwards. Okay, site plans. Question on the site plans. St. Lawrence County Planning Board wanted the forest inventory, and that was submitted. They wanted a drawing of the 6 utility poles that will be installed in the northeast corner of the project, and that's in these site plans. B&L wanted you to clarify the differences in the lighter shaded slopes versus the darker shaded slopes on C201. Do you need any further clarification about that, Christy?
No, I discussed it with Tetra Tech's engineer earlier this weekend, and he understands what she needs to do.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
And they wanted the contours, proposed contours of the access road, and we talked about the phasing plan for a site disturbance. You're going to do that. And add a 50-foot long turnaround adjacent to the proposed equipment pad to facilitate access for O&M purposes and emergency vehicles. They suggested that you revise the landscape plan on C203 to state to add landscaping inspections at the owner expense once a year for the first 5 years of operation by a registered landscape architect or arborist. Shall be a condition of final site plan approval to identify any areas of landscape that has died or is not thriving and will be replaced by the owner. And the last one, I think, is complete a geotechnical study prior to final design, since the means and method for installing the racking and equipment depends on the subsurface conditions in this area. For example, the soft cobble or hard rock. The installation options may include, but are not limited to, drilling a pilot hole slightly smaller than the pile, drive the pile for friction fit, screw the piles, or rock drill. No blasting is proposed. Do you need any further clarification on those recommendations?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Good with that? Okay. Moving on to your SWEP. The SWEP was revised and dated 10/20/2022. Did you see the B&L comments regarding the SWEP? We need to first provide contour labels on the drainage maps D-001 and D-002, Appendix G of your SWEP. 2, confirm and revise the time of concentration path for pre-development drainage area 1, Appendix H, to account for shallow concentrated flow over woods cover type. Please confirm and revise the HydroCAD modeling, Appendix I, accordingly. 3, confirm and revise the HydroCAD modeling, Appendix J, post-development drainage areas 1 and 3, Appendix H. Do not appear to account for shallow concentrated flow over the crushed stone access drive. 4, revise your calculation site plans in the notice of intent, Appendix K, to account for all new impervious areas. 5, revise the total site area and total area to be disturbed listed under Section 4 of the notice of intent, Appendix K, consistent acreage. 6, revise future impervious area within the disturbed area listed under Section 4 of the notice of intent to be consistent throughout the documents. 7, provide a response under Section 13 of the notice of intent, Appendix K. And 8, the final notice of intent, Appendix K, must be signed by a certified SWIP preparer. Any questions about the SWEP and what's required? Christy?
No, I did talk to, I'm getting feedback. we have to discuss further with our consultant engineer. I'll be honest, we didn't go through those comments yet. So if they have any, I'm sure they'll reach out to BNL.
Okay, very good. And then the O&M plan was dated 10/19/2022. It has the maintenance activities with the frequencies, the limits of the maintenance map, the stormwater practices. And we just need a copy of the maintenance agreement as a condition of final approval. So your O&M plan looks pretty good. The decommissioning plan is the most detailed decommissioning plan I've ever looked at. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Did
you do that?
No, I can't take all the credit.
And I think the total cost was like, was it $600,000 or $800,000 for this little one compared to what we just did the other day? Holy moly.
No comment.
Anyway, all we need for your decommissioning plan is the photographs or archival color images of the existing site to illustrate the pre-existing conditions. Other than that, it's pretty comprehensive. Community benefit plan, you're already doing that. It's a condition of final approval, not to this board, but to the town board and the pilot agreement with St. Lawrence County IDA. And then other things that we need, the equipment specification sheets were all submitted on 10/2022. The wetland delineation report on 8/11/2022 indicates 29.6 acres of the wetland on the project site. And they are federal wetlands, right? So we'll still need New York State DEC Article 24 permit for the project and to complete the local and state permits as required within the right of way or the highway. And I think that's it. Any questions or comments, guys? Anything I missed?
No, Deb, just quick question. So these minor revisions, I'm just using the word minor revisions needed to the SGP, some of the SGP studies and the site plan.
Yeah.
I assume we would have to provide those prior to January 23rd?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, okay, we'll get going on that so we could meet that.
We would like the project to be considered as the entire application for special use permit on that day and get it all done. And then the board can look at your entire application.
Great. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. We're trying to adhere to your timeline as well.
Yeah, not mine, Bobbin. He's the PM. He's pushing us.
Okay. Anything else? Does anybody have any questions or comments or recommendations? Okay, I think you guys can get your SEQR Part 1 done and we'll get the process going, and within a couple of months it should be over. Okay. As far as this goes.
So sorry, Deb, just so for clarity again, on the day of the public hearing, you could do SEQR Part 2 and 3 as well?
Yes, if you get it all done.
Everything by the 13th, right? Did you get everything done?
BNL will need at least 2 weeks to review it.
Oh, okay.
2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks prior to June.
And if you could get it to us, give us, the board, at least a week to look at it, that would be phenomenal.
Okay, and then so public hearing SEQR Part 2, 3 on that day, and so we could likely get our SUP that same day, a negative declaration?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Get it done.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you so much for your time, Deb. I know this is a lot. You guys are, I know Mike keeps telling me you guys are getting overwhelmed by all these solar applications now. And obviously it's a pleasure working with you guys. I want to say that. I know sometimes the process can get frustrating, but I really appreciate Mike's attention to our project and Christy constantly bothering him. He's always responsive. So I really appreciate Mike in what he's doing and keeping us informed. He even keeps me on my toes. He's like, where's stuff? So you guys have a great team, and we really like working with you guys, and we want to see this project succeed. I don't know if Bobbin has anything else you want to say.
No, I think Christy summed it up fairly well. Just thank you again for all your guys' support, and we look forward to pushing through the last leg of this process.
Very good. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
I can't yet. You're not.
I'm not
We're
done.
wrapped up with the project. Taylor,
tired.
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Need a nap.
You guys had other things you wanted to talk about today? Tonight?
Yeah, it'd be nice if everybody else was here. If
You
they
want to
weren't,
wait?
but- Well, I don't, we can't, we'll have to wait till Monday and I don't. It's not gonna be.
We
good.
do, what's another couple hours? We'll just, 4 hours.
Just like, I feel like I live here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just told them this is the
Live,
third night in
clean,
the last
I was
four.
gonna
Yeah.
say.
Plus
Yeah, but
all the
you-
work I do at home
But
on this,
you
oh,
have a
crazy.
deadline. You're
Yeah,
counting the
you're
hours.
amazing.
I am.
Yeah,
Now,
but
when
did
is
you-
your
I'm trying
last?
to do this.
Is
so-
Did
Monday
you
your
make up that
last?
four
Right.
column thing? Is
I
that
do.
you?
Yeah, that's me.
Mike, you want me to leave this or?
Cut and
Yeah,
paste.
please.
Here.
I knew
Thank
once
you.
she said the first, I was like.
Your eyes lit
saw
up,
a-
you're like.
So can we talk
Mike,
about
I've got
310 then?
One of those from before. I don't know if
Talk about
it's
it?
how current it is.
We allowed
It's-
to?
That's the same one.
Of the same.
We can't make any decisions about 310. I don't,
No, we
I
can-
don't
can we
even
talk about
have
it?
any of the,
We don't need anything. We
Information?
don't need anything. Just to talk
okay.
about- Talk about what we're talking about.
Yeah,
310.
you're all set, Arthur.
Are
Thank
you
you so
coming
Thanks,
much.
back?
Arthur.
I mean,
Oh, no, I'm
Are you
staying.
staying?
Yeah, I'm
He's
staying
staying,
here
yeah.
this time.
In that case.
Yes.
Good.
He took the
Alright.
401.
Where were you from, Toronto?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bless
just-
you.
But right near there.
Good, good.
Oh, Thank you for your time, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
appreciate
Thank
it.
Be safe, man.
you.
Thanks for coming.
And I'm sure we'll be talking.
Is
again.
that crispy
Yeah.
Canadian too?
Sorry, pardon me?
Is the Christie that was on there Canadian too?
Yes, yeah, the whole team is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because the accents.
Yeah, no,
Ouch.
she has a background from
Yes.
the, oh, where is she? Up here, where it is right now.
She's
But-
not, it's not a Toronto accent.
No, it's
European,
from,
Australia?
like the
The outback.
Caribbean in a sense. I just-
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tobago's, there we
There
go.
you go.
Really?
Yeah. But
Interesting.
that's, yeah, that's just her background.
Hmm.
Yes.
You're all right, man. Don't hurt.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I didn't know if you guys are,
No,
It's
no.
okay, we're
okay.
fine.
don't want to keep you guys too much.
So
So-
when is your last one with us? Monday?
Monday.
Monday.
Oh, no. You guys hopefully have a party.
I'm gonna party.
He's gonna party on the 6th.
She's gonna go to Florida.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So we're
So
still
what are the
officially in the
issues?
meeting,
What
so
are the issues
we're
with the
We
recording.
can't really say anything.
That's fine.
I'm just reminding you all that I'm keeping track of the recording so that I'll be able to take minutes on the rest of the meeting.
Okay, good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it needs to be recorded.
We don't have anything to
Have a
hide.
great night, everyone.
See
No,
ya.
I
I-
wasn't
I-
saying
I
you
do.
did. I
See you,
was just
man.
reminding you we were still in the meeting.
Mhm. Well, Debbie won't let us talk about it unless we're at a meeting.
Right, that's right.
Technically,
You
that is
wanted to talk
accurate.
about it on Tuesday. and I said
Oh,
no.
that's,
I'd like
yes,
to talk
Wasn't
about-
a
thank
meeting.
I'd
you.
like to talk about the issues of 310 as opposed
the
to every
issues?
other.
I don't
every
even,
other
I
one.
don't even know what the issues are. Bill
Well,
Buchanan
what-
needs to give us his feedback on what
What's
the
the
village
issue?
had
Well, wasn't
said.
one big issue just expansion of the village? And this is an area where they.
We haven't, it's not
No
in the
comment.
comprehensive plan to expand the village out that way.
I know it's not, but it's a potential expansion place.
But it's wet.
My house is a potential expansion.
were
place.
Mine is
I've
too.
Oh,
been-
so the
yeah.
rest of the board doesn't see this as an issue?
No.
Then, okay, then I shouldn't see that.
Well,
as an
no.
issue.
No,
What
it
about
might
Mike?
be.
John, I
It might
agree
be,
with
it
you.
might be
What
an
about
issue.
Mike Dalton's
We
letter?
don't know.
Well, Bill Buchanan is gonna give us his feedback.
But my
on it
take
before the-
on that is, I understand that. Why not Judson Street? Where was their letter for Judson Street?
Yeah, it was a
And there
little
wasn't.
different though. Justin Street
Not
had no
really.
street access. This one is right on the
Sure,
road.
you could run a road right across from Judson to State Street, right through where that solar.
So
or
in
Sheasley
other words,
solar project is.
if we're negative on 310, we're inconsistent because we approved Judson Street.
I think we have to look at the project as a whole and listen to what the public has to say about it. Get Bill Buchanan's feedback on if there's any legal issues or if there's any legal standing
Mhm.
to deny it. And the seeker is just the environment. It's just an environmental thing, right? It's not about the project itself. The application as a whole is about the project. That's how the special
know,
use
but-
permit, whether you grant the special use permit or not, you take into consideration the public opinion.
But we made that decision on Monday night.
Correct.
We did.
we make, this coming Monday, we
Yes.
may have another decision.
Yes, we will. We
And
will.
that decision is the decision.
It is. It will be.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So are we prepared to make a decision?
I'm not prepared for anything regarding Monday.
Because we haven't gotten
I
what
just-
we
I
need
just-
yet, John.
Well,
I'm
what do we
just-
need?
What,
We
you're
need,
living minute
we
to
need
minute?
our
I
wires changed.
just trying to get
We
through this
need
week.
legal stand, we need that information first. And
We're
then
still
we need to
waiting on
go, yeah,
bird study.
right. So I mean,
Birds?
we need,
I mean, it's a hayfield.
Yeah, but there's a section of the property that
Migratory birds.
That
that's
has-
in
monitoring
there.
yeah.
birds.
Yeah, it was in that
See? There's another thing.
US Fish and Wildlife.
But
but
there's,
that's part of the
So-
process.
so flip that around. So if the village wants to take ownership of that and expand the village,
The
they
birds
can't
are
do it.
still
The
there.
birds are still there.
The birds would be able to use it better
I don't want
with the
this.
solar panels there than they will
I'll take care of it.
with the village.
That's
putting
what
in
the
about
letter, that's
putting
what the
20
letter,
houses in
big-
there.
that's what the letter said today from
Anything right
the
here.
engineer.
I don't have an
I'm gonna
extra
give you the
line here.
rest
I
of
just
mine.
want to, if we
But
get
I don't
all
have
our
it right
dots dotted, not T's
Yeah.
crossed, I'm fine.
I
I'm
see
not
that
com- I don't
we
an
have to
agenda.
make sure that the company does all X, Y, and Z that they're supposed to
And
do.
they're gonna.
And we have to make sure that they meet the environmental standards.
Yeah.
And if all of
Do
the,
you want it?
What is
This
it?
is
and
the
if all
old
of those
Tetra Tech
steps
stuff.
are done,
Oh.
You don't want it, do
we
you?
have to approve it.
Then he's gonna recycle it.
Okay.
That's what I see. But,
Thank you.
and at
No
this
problem.
point, I
Have the
haven't
site
seen
plans
anything
too,
that
you can have
says
that.
we shouldn't.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, you, listen, your eye the other night was, what did you say? A reluctant eye?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna forget that. You said a reluctant eye.
Be on multiple counts. The big deal, three factors there. One was the wetlands, because that was really wet. I went out there and walked it.
Right.
And they want to put panels on an area that's wet 52 weeks out of the year. This parcel on 310, that gets hayed in the summertime.
Yeah.
It's not wet out
I
there.
wish we weren't
more
recording. I'll tell
prime.
you some news.
The second of all, the one on Mead Road was in Rose's backyard.
It was.
If there were more houses there, I think we'd have more leverage.
So if I had.
And then the third one is, that was the best piece of ag ground that we've dealt with
Right.
out of all of the projects that we're dealing with. The only one that might be close is gonna be
So
Nickerson.
we could have
Road.
legitimately turned that project down.
No,
Based on our
No.
existing,
Oh,
No.
solar law, I'm gonna say no.
No,
That's why I voted aye, even though my heart said I didn't want to.
because your
The law
heart looks
doesn't
at the
protect
roses,
you.
but
It
you
doesn't
can't.
protect you, just say no.
but
Unless
you-
there's
we
something.
we are allowed to
unless-
say no.
And
Yeah,
only,
but-
only if it doesn't adhere to your solar law.
One of us could say no and just, and be,
No.
and have a ridiculous.
It
no.
can't be arbitrary or
No, it
capricious.
can't be
Well,
arbitrary.
it's not
John.
being
And
arbitrary.
it can't be
is.
emotional.
Say if you say
Can't be
it's
emotional.
it's a
That's
bad
true.
visual, there's no emotion here. It's a visual, it's a wetland.
The
it's
visual
prime
impacts,
farmland.
the visual impact
The
study,
county turned it down.
the
Well, but
visual
the county
impact
turned all of
study
these
was
down.
acceptable for that site. Go back and look at it.
So
They
what
put
do
in
we- what
2
do-
rows of trees so that they wouldn't see that.
So our purpose really, well, going through all this stuff is just to make sure they adhere to these rules. That is it. We don't have any say to say yes or no.
And
We don't have any right to say yes or
You
no.
can say yes or no, depend, if they don't adhere to the solar law.
No, because they have to, because
They
by
have
the
to
time we
adhere
get
to
through
it.
our deal and we make them like these guys Monday night, we made them do all the things. It took them 2 years to
It
figure it
did,
out.
it did.
So finally they did it.
Still
So we
haven't
couldn't,
figured
we
it
couldn't
out.
turn it down because they did all the rules.
Yes.
They did
So-
it,
so what-
and our law
That's what
says
I-
we have
that
to
says.
mitigate the visual impact on the neighbors. They did mitigate it. They
So
put in,
our-
they're gonna
okay.
put in 2 rows of
So
trees.
our job is really just to
Application.
get them to abide by the rules. And
So what
that
you're-
is it.
So,
We don't have a, that's our yes or no.
so John, what you're saying
it.
is hypothetically, come Monday night, you would say no because you feel that the village has potential to expand on that site.
What did Dalton say?
That's all he said essentially, and I don't have his letter in front
Yeah, I
of
don't
me,
even, I can't.
but he. it was-
Highest and best use. Where this was the quote.
best
It is
use.
not the highest and best
Yes,
use of
good,
the
thank
land.
you.
Oh, no, there was one on Mead Road, best use for that.
Listen, I'm fine. That's
know what
very
I
good.
mean?
What you just said is
The-
very good. I get
From
my,
an
I get
economic
a light
standpoint,
bulb
it
went on
is.
in my head.
It is, but for the
We-
land, the dirt. it's
Our
not.
only
Dirt
For the
job.
production,
is to make sure all the
That's how I-
stuff. is
that's how
right,
I
is
see it.
right. That's it. We
that's how
don't-
I see it.
and if
Unless,
we were-
unless
that's it.
something is glaring, like, I don't know, what would,
It
what would it
can't
be?
be because
maybe Kayla can.
they
chime
have
in
to
on it.
abide by all the rules
They
and
do.
B and L keeps us on track and
No,
all the
that's the whole
seeker
point.
stuff.
We have no limits. I asked the town board back in July to give us limits. Because the township of Canton was becoming a solar town. I've received nothing.
Well, we put a limit
Nothing.
in our new suggestion, 200
We
solar acres.
did the zoning
Yep.
We
committee, which
recommended
will,
it.
But if you were,
Recommended.
and I think I calculated it, if all 7 of these community solars are approved, you're over 200 acres.
They can't be. Mike.
Not
They
under,
can't-
not under panels.
not the-
Yes.
The ground under panels.
Yes.
I mean,
They
this,
average less than
And Mike
25
has the
It's 40
table.
acres.
acres per.
Mike has the
per
table.
lot.
of his footage. Oh, I don't.
40
want
under
those. What am I
panels.
doing?
You're okay.
Don't want it.
You're like, I'm
Don't
picking up, I'm
want it.
done.
I
Don't
think
want
this
it.
one over here on 310 is 40 acres.
in
But
general,
anyway.
they've been running about 5 acres for a megawatt. So about 25 acres apiece. And this one that we just dealt with tonight is.
Yeah. you
I
just
wish
take
we
that.
did.
is
I got it.
well
John,
under.
I wish we did.
Listen, I got,
we
it.
don't.
I got the message.
We
I got it.
don't.
Oh,
We are
Jesus.
really, we're just basically here to make sure the rules are followed. I'm fine with that. I don't have to.
Unless there's some strange,
So when everybody comes in and on Monday night and whatever they're gonna do, or whatever they're gonna say, maybe the neighborhood will come in, say things. It doesn't matter what they say.
Looking at,
It
well,
doesn't
I
matter.
don't know, looking at the
I
site,
don't know. I don't
Look-
know that.
looking at the visuals that I saw today that I sent you, that visual is not, that needs to be redone.
For
That- the-
310,
The tree planting and the tree buffering.
we
Yeah,
talked,
Mike, I would agree with you.
we talked about that at the last meeting, that they needed to talk to
I
Joel
sent-
Howie, and they needed to talk to United Helpers, and we needed something. And Joel has been emailing me, and he
Yeah, he
wanted,
called me today.
he wanted copies, and I'm like, I can't, you gotta go through FOIL. I can't give it to you.
He
I'm
called me
sorry.
today.
But he said that somebody from the solar company had gotten in touch with him on that day.
But if you look at the visuals that I sent everybody today on what, Joe sent, Johan
Yeah.
sent,
They're
they
not
need to
sufficient.
improve their visual impact. Because as of right now, that visual impact is very poor.
And we don't have
So
to
that would
look at
give
the
us
entire
grounds to-
project on Monday. We can just do SEQR Part 2 and Part 3. And you guys can do the rest of it later.
And what's the rest of it?
Approving the
project.
application. I think you have 20 days.
And especially depending on what they've done and what they, whatever, if we see that things are not measuring up or are not adequate. I mean, that's,
Are we gonna be willing to discuss that in front of the public?
Yeah, all of our meetings are public meetings.
I know, but we didn't, on Monday night, you said you wanted to talk about this, and nobody wanted to talk about
well,
it.
what was there to talk about? I mean, I
So what are we-
John,
what
John,
are we talking
John,
about?
The thing with
We always
Monday-
talk
John,
about stuff.
I was exhausted on Monday.
That's what I mean.
Everybody on the board was exhausted.
Hmm.
I felt, maybe you weren't exhausted.
Oh, I was all ready to go.
You're ready to dance.
Good for you.
No, I wasn't either. On the mend.
That was an emotionally draining
Yeah.
meeting for everybody, I think.
Well, and a whole lot of stuff got brought in that had nothing to do with the
It
business at hand.
Yeah, that's right.
I
tried
wish
to-
I could, excuse me, I wish I could share the letter that Mr. Buchanan has drawn up, but it needs
To,
tweaking,
to share with the public.
share with the public, very, very to the point,
Perfect.
very to the
Good.
point. Describes the planning board's job,
Great.
describes the host community benefit.
See, this is what we need to have out there.
Right.
This
And that's why he's doing
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah,
of
he's
the
doing
meeting
it.
that we had on Monday.
Yeah, he said.
Well, I mean, it would have been nice to have it sooner,
Well, I
but
think the
that
whole
horse is out of the
concept
barn.
of the public relations, I mean, I think the public relations has gone slowly, and all of a sudden it's starting to move
Because of all the
because
Ridge
of Ridge
Road.
Because of the
Road and
Ridge
because of
Road.
whatever.
And the
I
town
mean, you
board
want to
members
turn
have
around and
wanted.
say, excuse me, where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Yeah.
You know, where were you when we were making, or the town board was making the law? Where were you when you would ever, what, you know? But that's how it
I don't-
works.
It
I don't
does.
know about the appropriateness, but I have local friends ask me questions that they just like to know answers, and I've been telling them answers.
But like some
Well,
of them,
that's okay.
some of those,
Supposed to.
but some of those questions that were being asked Monday night, they're not public. It's not public. It's nothing to
What's
to-
it?
the.
The
how much-
project?
The,
Oh, the community
The
housing.
community, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a negotiation.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
that-
that
I-
hasn't happened yet.
None of that is in place yet,
It's getting close.
Plus, it's none of our business.
but we
There's a
don't
wall that
decide that.
separates us
And
from that whole thing. This is a
Okay.
proper
But-
wall.
But once it is done, it is public knowledge.
Wha-
Well, we haven't seen it yet.
But the thing is like, once they pull the trigger on one, the rest are all a domino.
Oh, Kayla, you should really look at their decommission plan and compare it to the one we did Monday night.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell
Well,
me.
But that was in our recommendations. I think that, and Jim
That's why
brought
I'm
that
saying
up.
it. to
But I
Kayla
bet
when she relooks at that
Right.
one for Monday
Right.
night.
But I bet you, well, I bet you Algonquin did not go by any NYSERDA guidelines. I bet-
They said they did.
I bet you no.
They said they
That,
did.
if you look at NYSERDA decommissioning guidelines, that is low.
It's very broad, not site specific.
But when I saw theirs, 800, I'm like,
I thought, holy
For a little.
crap, for a little tiny.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Site, anyway.
But Bill Buchan says that none of these sites will go out of circulation ever.
I believe that.
Maybe,
And I
maybe
believe it
not,
too.
maybe not.
Mm.
Okay,
How you doing,
I've
I'm
had,
cool.
I'm
I know.
okay.
Very
I'm
cool.
okay.
Are you sure?
We want you good.
I'm okay. I've heard, I got my boundaries.
What is the board's thoughts on the DC's comments for the bird survey for 310?
To be honest, I haven't looked at
I-
anything regarding 310 yet, other than what we did a month ago. I haven't looked at the new stuff, Kayla.
Okay. I guess I don't know how long ago it was, but I sent an email, and I guess, our recommendation, because of those comments from the DC, essentially they're recommending that the applicant do a bird survey. I think it's best if the applicant clarifies what exactly the DEC is requiring them to do. Because this is new knowledge to us, obviously. It came through the coordinator review letters. Sometimes I've seen that the applicant reaches out and the DEC says, nope, you're cleared. We see where you're proposing to develop and you're fine. And sometimes they require bird survey, which depending on what they ask for can take a while to get done. Just because there's certain requirements in different seasons of the year. I spoke to Joe today, so he's aware of BNL's position on this, but I think it would be in the board's best interest to wait until they get confirmation from the DEC to proceed with SEQR, because you won't have all of the environmental information that you'll need to declare, make a declaration on the process. I guess why I'm cautious is because, say you guys move ahead Monday and you do, declare neg deck, and then we find out that the DC would like a bird survey, that might not, it could lead to complications. So I guess that's just BNL's recommendation, our 2 cents. Of course, it's entirely up to the board. We can absolutely have parts 2 and 3 prepared for Monday if you would like, or you could just review the revised site plan and hold the public hearing and then see how DC responds to the applicant's correspondence with them, which Joe did pass along today. They have reached out to DEC.
Okay.
Kayla, do you have any insight as to why they need a bird survey for this parcel when we haven't had it for any of the other ones?
It was on that. It was on a report they got.
Report they got.
So yeah, when we send out the coordinated review letters, sometimes DEC just sends back, typically we see comments, of course, they want to see a SWIP, and that they'll have to get a speedies permit before any construction starts. But this one also had a hit on bird surveys, and I'm guessing it's the nature of the site and the species of the birds that have been seen around the project site, and that's why it was a hit. I mean, when this is sent to DEC, there's multiple staff that review it, and there must have been a hit somewhere within their staff.
Thought in their first US Fish and Wildlife Survey, they talked about migratory birds being on that site.
Yep, correct. I do remember that too. So it may just be a precautionary, and hopefully with the applicant reaching out to them, they'll look into it deeper and they'll get a determination what's going to be required exactly for them to move forward. I don't think by any means it would halt the project at all, but it's just extra due diligence that the applicant might have to do before they move forward with the design process.
Good recommendation. Thank you. We go home now.
Okay.
I know,
Glad
I have to,
it's okay.
I can't help myself.
Do it.
Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Please
I'm
stop.
tired.
It busts me up that we're nitpicking all of these environmental things for these projects.
Because we're doing the environmental
Oh,
survey.
I know.
That's our
And what's
analysis.
going on up the road from my house right now? Andy Hurlbut's clearing at least a 50-acre field.
Andy is, yeah. He's tiling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know how much
I
silt,
talked to his dad.
do you know
today.
how much silt and runoff is coming off of that piece right now?
Sure,
Because it's all draining into my land.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's not fair.
Well,
Not really.
actually, Andy and I talked about it, and he's installed culverts on my property where I wanted them. And from my personal perspective, it's all good. And in the long run, it's not going to hurt the environment, because on my property, it goes into a swamp and a 2-acre beaver pond where all the silt's going to come out. But still, the point is,
He doesn't
you
need- he doesn't
you
need a
should
secret.
see the water coming off of that property.
Mhm.
And it is just brown with silt. And they cleared a whole bunch of
It's
trees and
just like.
stuff.
but
And
that's
he
the
doesn't
thing.
have to do anything.
Is that
It's
on
just
your
like
side of
tree
the road?
clearing.
Yeah,
Is that on
Because
your
he's,
side of the road?
because he's
No.
ag.
On your
it's
side,
right.
Yeah,
He's
it's
ag.
the old loop farm on top of the
yeah,
hill
okay.
with the
yeah.
blue silo.
Yeah, okay.
Just like tree clearing.
What's
it
Yeah,
called,
100
Windy Hill?
acres, you can
I've-
go and
oh,
cut
yeah.
all
About
trees
Windy
down.
Hill.
I've got
Oh, right.
120 acres back there, and I could have the guys from Messina come in and clear cut that whole
Yeah.
thing, and nobody would say a peep.
Not a word,
No,
Nope.
not a word.
because it's underneath ag and markets.
Yeah. And we're worried about a little bit of silt runoff on these projects, and they're gonna have to put in the posts and the
And
plastic.
all
and
the
that stuff.
all the hydrocad modeling.
Well, you
and
may be,
stuff
I'm not
like that.
worried about that stuff so much. My worry was, are we doing due diligence here to the expansion of the village? That's all. And I got my message from everybody. I'm okay. I'm good.
Well,
We're-
if Bill
we're
McKeon
good.
says something differently,
Right.
then we'll present that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll listen to everything.
And we asked for something from United Helpers.
They won't give anything until it's approved.
Hmm.
There's an email thread I sent everybody. They're for the project, but they will not sign off on anything until. the
They're
project-
for the
they're
project.
for the
They're
project.
for the project.
Okay.
Very good.
Are they getting a benefit?
I would hope if they were, they would have
Specifically?
let us know.
10 what?
Mm,
Grand.
Once?
I'm not saying that. I don't.
No,
Jeez, Mike, you have all this
You know-
information.
He does.
Yeah, listen to him. He's got all this stuff.
If that wasn't recording, I have other information, but I'm not.
Maybe we're
Shut
done with the
that thing
meeting.
down.
I vote we adjourn.
Official
make a motion to
adjournment,
adjourn.
Ziggy.
I second.
See you, Kayla.
I'll.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, Kayla.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kayla.
Yep. Bye.
Have a good one, hon.
See you Monday.
7:57, end of meeting.
Your head is gonna